Once again, I need to introduce myself. My name is Maud Buhle-Donda. I will be chairing this session, and I will be assisted by Cass. We all are aware that the theme for this conference is innovative approaches to student development and support in higher education. And we are all aware of the fact that most of the innovations that have been brought to our learning platforms are due to the fact that we had an unprecedented encounter with COVID that actually forced us from teaching face-to-face to moving to online. And since it was unprecedented, we had to decide on the spot what to do, how to do things, how to change to blended learning, or at the time it wasn't even blended learning, it was online learning. So this is the initiative now to get a chance to reflect and to look at the lessons that we've learned. Now, our theme is innovative tools and strategies for enhancing student development. And our first presenter is Simangaliso Bayabonga Zulu. And Simangaliso Bayabonga Zulu is a doctoral candidate in marketing management at UKZN School of Management, IT and Public Governance. He holds a BSS, BCom Honors, and Masters of Commerce degree, all from UKZN. Mr. Zulu is a budding academic and professional marketer. Mr. Zulu is also an FYE coordinator at UKZN College of Law and Management Studies. And he will be presenting, he'll be making a presentation titled Enhancing Student Success and Retention Through FYE Program at the UKZN's College of Law and Management Studies. Over to you, Ayabonga.
Good morning, everyone. I understand that it's still break and some people still enjoying their meals, but yeah, I think we'll proceed. They introduced me as Mr. Bayabonga, but not that I'm laughing, but yeah, actually, Mr. Bayabonga is my colleague, so we have done the presentation together. So on his absence, because due to unforeseen circumstances, he couldn't make it. So I'll take it over from here. My name is Petero Makaleng, and Bayabonga Simangaliso Zulu, he's my colleague. So our presentation is on enhancing student success and retention through the FYE, which is the first year experience program at the UKZN's College of Law and Management Studies. The first year experience facilitates a shared sense of belonging, cohesion, and success for all College of Law and Management Studies first year students. The FYE may describe a specific series of programs designed to help students transition from high school to university, which is more like a bridge because the beliefs and the way things were done from high school are actually different from what's happening in the university. So the FYE program actually tries to bridge that, tries to be a bridge between what happened from high school and how you can actually adjust to the new environment, which is the university. The FYE provides students with a strong sense of belonging while empowering and equipping them with necessary skills required to navigate and be successful in university. You know, when you have a sense of belonging, you actually feel welcomed, and that's when you can relax and start doing what's actually happening in that environment that you are in. So that's what FYE tries to do. This is achieved through a series of activities such as extended orientation, academic workshops, and social activities. Extended orientation, what we mean by that is that we actually have the orientation from the first week before the commence of academics, but then it goes throughout the year. It doesn't stop only during the orientation period. So it's the orientation throughout the year where students can actually engage in. Enhancing the success, first year students are allocated both the peer academic mentor and the peer wellness mentor. As a mentor, their mentor is a fellow undergraduate student in the second or third year of study which helps and supports students through the transition during the first year of the university life. So here, it's actually more like a brother or a bigger sister in the university. So their job is actually to help them to transition from the high school and to the university life. So students are made aware of student support services, which could be from the students counseling, from CHASU, which is the campus HIV and AIDS support services, the sports. So all the student support services that we have, we actually introduce them to that, and also with their career issues, like we introduce them to the ADOs and how they are tutors, they are mentors from the academics and all those things. So a campus clinic that addresses the health concerns and financial. Oh yeah, we also introduce them to the campus clinics that addresses their health concerns and also the financial aid, which deals with the NSFAS, because most of our first years, they come here with the, having the NSFAS. So that addresses the financial concerns. So we actually take them and then we take them through how to actually get hold of your financial advisor, where to go whenever you feel like you're not sick, because there are a lot of things that could actually hinder the student's success. If they are stressing about their NSFAS, maybe they applied and they never received any NSFAS, they will be stressed, and that will actually hinder them from achieving their academics, or succeeding in their academics. So to enhance their success, we actually take them through all those procedures at the beginning of the year, so that throughout the year they know where to actually go whenever they need assistance. So a proactive attitude and timeless uptake of these services by first-year students have been linked to enhance academics performance, because we're trying by all means to bridge anything that would actually hinder them from not succeeding in their academics, because at the end of the day, they are here to actually get their degrees. So we try by all means, whether it's social side or academics, we try by all means to assist them. So with their enhancing their success, we allocate them both peer wellness and peer academic mentors. The peer wellness, they actually deal with the social and the well-being, or their wellness support, the wellness support of the mentees, and the peer academics, they actually deal with the academic side, where they actually give the mentees the academic support they need. But we're not saying that they should be like lecturers, but they can actually help and assist wherever possible, and if they can't, they should refer to the academic side, or they should refer to the FYE coordinator, so that they can address or deal with the issue the mentee is having. The first year experience course seminar, this is the one that we were referring that, this one, there are actually a lot of courses inside of it. We have FYE 101, which it's about knowing my campus or knowing the university policies, and then the FYE 102 is about goal setting, learning styles, the management, effective note-taking, study skills, academic writing, library, and the plagiarism. And FYE 103, they actually dealing with the personal and professional development, and also the global citizenship and sustainability awareness. So all these seminars, they actually there to enhance or to enhance their success, or to help them to actually be able to transform from the high school to the university and have a sense of belonging. And the academic advising and orientation, the orientation program is an essential component of the FYE program and runs from a week before the beginning of the semester by FYE coordinators. During that week, the students learn about their course and majors from the college handbook, university policies, and resources available to support them during their studies. And first-year students are also introduced to the FYE program and connect with their allocated mentors. So these are the preliminary results that we got from this year, since the beginning of the year. So we actually had a survey where students actually rate our service, since it's a piloting thing. So right now, the survey results, it was based on the responses we got from 500 453 College of Law and Management Studies students, representing actually 50% of the total cohort of the students we have in the college. So most students rated the initiative positively, which is 74.6%, while 17.2% rated it satisfactory. Less than 10% of the survey students rated it rated the initiative negatively. But from what we have, we can see that at least it's actually enhancing their success and it's actually doing its purpose. So from this one, these are the cloud weight below. They represent the students' responses to why they actually rated the mentorship initiative helpful. And then the sentiments analysis of these responses show that they were generally positive and about the initiative. So you can see that most of the things that pops up is that the mentors were actually helpful and they helped them to transition from the high school or the mentality that they had from the high school all the way to the university. So these are the comments that from the students which we got from that survey. They said that she has been of a great assistance, reachable and prompt response. She is very patient with us and she pays attention to everything that we need. As first year students, we face many difficulties pertaining to how everything works in this new environment. However, the mentorship program was very informative and super helpful in terms of giving us an insight in nutshell as how everything works out. And also my FYE mentor was of extreme assistance and very quick to respond to whatever issues we had faced, since I rated the mentorship initiative offered in the FYE program as excellent. So these were the comments that we got. And then in summary, it is evident that the first year students, it is evident that for first year students to have successful university transition, it will depend on strengthening relationships that they have with their peer mentors and the wider academic community. In turn, this will build on and support a sense of belonging and connectedness to the college and wide university. Thank you very much. Any question? I think I'll take it during the question session. Thank you very much.
Our next presenter is Christy Greener. Unfortunately, I do not have a biosketch, but could you just come up and take the podium? We follow the same rules. You're giving 10 minutes to present, and Cassie over there will signal towards the end of your 10 minutes. So over to you, Cassie. Christy.
Okay, so.
Good morning, well, actually good afternoon, everybody. My name is Christy Greener. I am a clinical psychologist and student counselor based in the College of Health Sciences. And my presentation today is on an assessment of mental health literacy in the College of Health Sciences. So this presentation is going to highlight the voices of students and what they actually said in response to our questionnaire. So the global pandemic highlighted a spotlight on mental health. Mental health issues and diagnoses of mental illnesses increased significantly during this pandemic. In 2020, in response to these trends, the Student Support Services within the College of Health Sciences launched the Mental Health Reset Program. The Mental Health Reset Program took place over 7 days in the living and learning space, which is after hours, so between 1630 and 1800 hours, over 7 days. Each day was a different topic. Following the success of this program, the program was relaunched and has become an annual event. It takes place in World Mental Health Month, which is October. And the aim of this program is to really get people to take note of, value, and take care of their mental health. So it's a psychoeducational program. So the 2022 program took place from 10th to the 18th of October 2022. And on the slide, you should be seeing just a brief program, a brief outline of what the 2022 program looked like. So the methodology, as part of the Mental Health Reset program, a pre-perceptions mental health literacy assessment was released to students who had registered to join the event. The questionnaire was released via email in Google Form format and contained this disclaimer that participation was voluntary in nature. Students were also assured of anonymity as no identifying details were collected. 67 completions were received by students ranging from first to postgraduate level from multiple degrees in the health science program. The research aims, the information gathered by this assessment aimed to assess mental health literacy levels so as to provide a platform on which to scaffold future interventions. By definition, mental health literacy refers to the knowledge and attitudes people have about mental health and mental health services. Data analysis, quantitative data was analyzed through SPSS and qualitative data was analyzed thematically. So this is a very, very shallow preliminary data analysis. We will be doing some deep diving shortly. So, looking at the various responses, people with a mental illness are dangerous. And these were Likert scale responses. So people with a mental illness are dangerous. 33% strongly agreed, 18% agreed, 21% disagreed, 28% stayed neutral. Now, this is of concern. As you can see, the majority response to this question was in the positive. So people with a mental illness are dangerous. Mental health challenges are a sign of weakness. 55% strongly agreed, 3% agreed, 16% were neutral, and 25% disagreed. A mental illness is not a real medical illness. 55% strongly agreed, 7% agreed, 16% were neutral, and 21% disagreed. People with a mental illness could snap out of it if they wanted. 51% strongly agreed, 7% agreed, 22% were neutral, and 19% disagreed. Mental health, that's incorrect. Mental illness is contagious. You can catch it from someone who is mentally ill. 57% strongly agreed, 6% agreed, 9% were neutral, 28% disagreed. Moving on to some open-ended questions. Just moving down. So students were asked about their understanding of mental health. Mental health considers a person as a whole. It controls how you react towards people and situations around you. If you are affected mentally, you are unlikely to perform your daily duties as normal. An individual's state of mind and how they view themselves, people around them, and the world, including life experiences. It's the ability to manage your thoughts and emotions, positive and negative, in a healthy way. This person was very honest. Sorry, I can't. It is your ability to stay well when under a lot of pressure. When you go through something, you see yourself doing good regardless of the situation. The state where the physical and mental well-being are equally balanced. How can you tell if someone is mentally healthy? When a person can cope with stressful and emotional situations and realize their full potential. You can't really tell because in most cases they can put a smile on their face, which can be deceiving unless they tell you how they feel. And if you are really close, it is still difficult to tell, but in some cases you can. They are secure in their emotions and are able to deal with difficult situations more easily than others. They have healthy coping mechanisms for stress and academic pressure, and they do not bottle up their emotions. Sense of calm, self-awareness, seeks help when needed, open to talking about their mental health. They socialize well with other people and also know where their limits are and when it's time for themselves. In your opinion, what causes mental health issues? Personally, it's interlinked with medical issues, such as a lifetime health condition that one has to deal with. It has to do with challenges and odds of life that people face, such as losing a loved one. It is also linked with financial unstable to be able to fill one's daily needs and the needs of one's around them. Distressing event that occurs in life, financial problems, losing loved ones or failing academically, not being able to achieve your goals, or social abuse. Childhood abuse, trauma, social isolation or loneliness, experiencing discrimination and stigma including racism, social disadvantage, poverty, losing someone close to you, long-term stress, having a long-term physical health condition. School pressure and personal issues. Oops. Poor time and stress management. Overthinking. What resources can you use to access information about mental health? I should have known this would come up. Google. You can access student psychology programs, and one can see medical specialists for psychiatric issues, such as psychiatrists. Internet and also the social media platforms. UKZN website, student support services, peer wellness mentor, academic development officer. I have no knowledge of this. The internet is not the best option, but it is also the closest source of information. Call SADAG, and they've got the number there. Where can you access information about mental health at the university? Student support services and academic development officers. Don't know? The Health Sciences Administration Office, via emailing the mental health care department of your college. You can access information on student wellness, wellness home, mental health, resources, offers in South Africa University, student support services. I'm not quite sure. I think at clinic you can get pamphlets about mental health. To mental health programmers, social workers at university clinics, psychologists. Student clinic at UKZN Medical School. Who can you speak to regarding support for mental health issues at the university? Student support services, all student counselors were mentioned. I don't know. Psychologists and academic development officers, supervisors, the mental health counselor, psychologist, psychotherapist, or psychiatrist, peer wellness mentor. I'm going to skip that one, which is how do you secure an appointment? Which topics would you like to learn more about concerning mental health? Dealing with life challenges and financial support? Not sure. How to deal with anxiety and feeling heavy and emotional breakdowns? How to communicate our mental health challenges and concerns with family and friends? How to be a supportive person for an individual with a mental illness without burning yourself out? How to self-regulate your emotions and when to seek help? How to deal with academic pressure? How to cope with change in our everyday lives? Suicide prevention, how to recover quickly? Violence or bullying, especially cyberbullying? How to deal with childhood trauma? Coping with the difficulties and tragedies seen in hospitals. What should the university do to improve student mental health? Do group therapy with students entering the university mid-year to check in, as well as more online surveys. By educating our lecturers about mental health to ensure that the support we receive is not isolated and only things when go really bad. It shouldn't get to the stage of being really bad. More mental health programs must be available and offices must be open whenever the student needs these services, as emails take a long time. Have more programs about mental health awareness every month if possible. Bring student support services to residents, posters for these kinds of workshops in residences, buses and notice boards. Make learning about mental health a compulsory course, ensuring that students in mental health challenges attend sessions, hire more clinical psychologists, and have a psychiatrist come once a week for assessment and collection of medication. Keep checking on students who are experiencing challenges in their studies. Moving on to our recommendations. So the data indicates that the students have a fair idea of what mental health is. But of concern is the fact that stigma is very alive and well in the college. And it's concerning because these are our future healthcare professionals. And as I said earlier, the study ranges from first to postgraduate level. So the students that were answering these questions were not necessarily your inexperienced first years. We had right up to postgraduate, up to doctoral level, I think. So it is very concerning that the questions on stigma were answered in the majority in an agreed fashion. It is therefore recommended that further programs which directly address stigma and mental illness be implemented. Furthermore, students' suggestions regarding marketing workshops at residences will be considered. I think moving it to the living and learning spaces. Many of the topics that the students requested are already covered by existing programs, but the problem is uptake. So we will need to, it remains an ongoing concern. Continuing collaborations with schools, disciplines will be undertaken to increase marketing reach and to encourage greater uptake. Those topics not already covered will be integrated into future psychoeducation programs. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Now we have to walk off.
Right, I'm opening the floor for questions. You can just ask a question and signal which of the presenters you are directing the questions to.
Hi, Chrissy. Question for you. When I looked at those Likert scale responses, they were very scary. So I agree with your assessment that those were a reason for concern. I just wanted to know if that was administered before they actually went through the week the week sessions with you guys, or did you administer it afterwards, or was there a follow-up afterwards as well? Thanks.
Oh, okay, now it is. It was released prior, but we kept releasing it over the course of the week. We haven't done a follow-up. What we will use this data to do now is to go away and draft our response and our intervention plan, and definitely directly head-on tackle the stigma responses that we got. As I say, they were very, very frightening. So it is something that we will definitely be taking forward in the new year. The biggest challenge that we face is uptake. So we have a lot of these programs already, but the difficulty is getting students to commit and to come forward with these. So maybe a sort of needs analysis on what is preventing the students from coming along and attending these workshops might be in order before we start launching them. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. No worries.
Yeah. I'd also like to pose a question to you, Kistri. Mm-hmm. You were talking about mental health education among students. Now, I want to know, but maybe that was not your plan, but you did signal that there was a lot of stigma around their understanding. So did you make a follow-up as to where did the students actually get the stigmas from? Because we tend to assume that they are coming from, from the society?
No, we didn't. It is something that we can take forward as part of future research.
Any other question?
Okay, there you go. Christy, another question. You know, I looked at your program and the times you said that you did it in the evenings, am I right?
Yes.
So I'm wondering, in terms of the targeted student population then, would that not be more targeting students that are at risk because, or were there day students that attended as well? I'm just thinking that the time might not be conducive to getting a cohort across the board of representation.
So it's held online, and it's held across the college. And the reason that we put it where it is because when we put stuff during the day, students that are at clinicals, at hospitals, at pracs can't attend. So that is the reason why we've put it at that specific time. And at this point, it was online. So we tried to make it as open to as many people across the board as we could.
Thank you.
Anyone else with a question? I guess, Ms. Makaleng, am I saying it right? Right, you were talking about the fact that in your study, you did find that students were presenting with with academic and social difficulties. So we tend to have the cliched the cliched social aspect of difficulties as, you know, mainly economic and what have you. Was there something that came out of your data that was very interesting in terms of you having not thought about it and maybe scarcely, you know, researched by others?
Okay, most of our results, we actually got them from the students that we have in the College of Law and Management first years this year. So usually we'll look at the reports from the mentors, what it's actually reported from mentors based on what mentees are experiencing. So on the academic sides, most of the time we actually focus more on the academic side, saying that students, it's because they don't attend lecturers, but we don't really go back to actually check what he does, that their progress. Sometimes it's not only the academic side that are suffering, but it's the social sides that actually goes to link in the academics. So most of the social difficulties that they were having is the online system. Remember that they're coming from high school, where in high school they actually have a setup like this where they sit with a teacher, and now it's online. They are back at home with the family, and now they need to be in class. So that actually, it doesn't really motivate them to actually attend, because it's just people behind the screens. They don't actually get to see the person. They don't feel the sense of being part of the university or being a student, because they are at home or wherever the place they are, but it's actually people behind the cameras. So those are the kind of things that actually popped up most of the time, that they don't really feel like they are students because of this online platform that we have. And the other thing that actually comes in is making friends. They find it hard to make friends because you just see Petao Makaleng, Sibusiso, and whoever, but you don't really get to meet the faces, because during the sessions people most of the time they don't show their faces. So they just there if they're staying at the residences, they are just there at the residences with people behind cameras, but they still don't get to make friends, because you can't text someone during the session and be like, hi, I want to be your friend. So those are the kind of things that actually hinders their academic progressions, and so that actually leads to loneliness, and that loneliness actually gets to being depressed. So those are the kind of things that we actually came across when we were reading the reports.
Okay, interesting.
said you were first.
Okay. You made mention of NSFAS. So I don't know, during your evaluation, were you able to evaluate the impact of prompt payment of NSFAS on the student performance in terms of their academics and mental health, and also vis-a-vis the delay? What were the consequences with respect to their mental health and possibly their academic performance with respect to the delay in payment? Thank you.
Okay, I'll try to answer that. In terms of the NSFAS, what happens is that most of the students, they didn't even know where to go in terms of their, who to contact whenever there are delays in their NSFAS. So what we actually do is that we refer them to the financial advisors, but we know that sometimes it's not the financial advisors who are wrong, but it's the delays from the NSFAS department which actually leads to all the delays that are happening. So what we usually do is that those kind of students, we know that not having financial stability actually can affect your well-being and also your academics. So we usually take them, actually the ones who are at advantage is the ones from residences, because we can refer them to the CHASU, which is the Campus HIV and AIDS Support Services, where they actually have food parcels, but problems that they are limited, but we give priorities to those who doesn't have the funding. So in terms of those, okay, I think there will be the ones who are gonna suffer the most is the ones who are at home, because we can't get hold of them. We can't reach them in terms of the food parcels. But for those who are on campus, we try by all means to refer them to the CHASU department where they can get the food parcels. I'm not sure if I answered all your questions. I think you mentioned several questions at the same time.
Yeah. Maybe if you can emphasize more on the impact on the mental health, like the anxiety associated with the delay, or sometimes anxiety can also come when there's prompt payment, because somebody that had not such amount before, getting it regularly. So what are the things associated with the anxiety?
Okay.
And then maybe other mental issue as relates to their studies. Thank you.
Okay, let me start with the last one, where the students are getting 1.5 for the first time in their lives. So that one, actually, students tend to, they usually say they pupula the money. So they actually spend all their monies in the things that doesn't gonna contribute or that doesn't gonna sustain them for the rest of the month. So that's where we come in and we actually teach them on how they should set their budgets. Actually, that's the first thing that we do during the orientation. On whenever you receive the money, this is how you should actually, you should start with the basic things that you're gonna need and the rest, so that you can have things that will sustain you for the rest of the month. And then when it comes to their mental health, obviously when they finish the money before month end, that's gonna actually affect them, because you can't start when you're hungry. That's just the effect. So what we can actually, what we usually do is that we encourage them on how to save, but we can't really go to their banks and help them. So all we can do is just to give them motivation on how to, or encourage them on savings and everything, but we can't really go to them and help them. And then in terms of those ones who doesn't have the funding, that's one is a struggle on its own, because not having money, even for the people who are working, once you don't get paid for that month, you're gonna, you know that it's gonna affect you mentally and physically. So like I said, for those who doesn't have funding, as far as it affects, we can refer them to the counseling, but that doesn't gonna solve the situation. Because we can't really, okay, for us as the FYE coordinators, we can actually deal with what we can do. That's why we refer them to the CHASU. But in terms of the deeper level, we actually refer them to the campus support services, student support services, where they can actually deal with the matter in depth. but we only deal with what we see in the surface. But what's happening down there, we don't really get to be able to assist because we're not trained for that. But it does affect them mentally and physically, so because without money, without having something to sustain you, it can be draining.
Have you ever had
Okay.
I just want to know if you've ever had a chance of checking out as to the impact of whatever course that you run around finances. Are they taking it seriously? Is it helping them? We all know that it can't help them 100% because most of them will obviously not listen, you know, until they experience hunger. So does it help to a certain extent?
I would say it does because based on the reports, because remember we have the mentors who actually do the follow-up. So the report for this month, it's going to report on this one, and then the next follow-up is going to be based on what's reported this month. So based on the reports that we get from the mentors, some they do improve on most of the things. Although it's not only financial, even social well-being. From the advices that they get from their mentors, some they actually take them serious and they put them into practice. And the following month, when you check the progress, you can see that actually there is some slight improvement from what actually happened last month. So some students, they actually take it into considerations, but we know that it's only that 10% that's not gonna listen. But we actually saw improvement when it comes to mentees.
Okay.
I got a couple of questions. I understand, or your talk suggested that your peer academic mentors and peer wellness mentors were two separate individuals. And I understand the academic mentor would be selected on the basis of their academic performance, but what would the criteria be for selecting a peer wellness mentor?
Actually, we use the same criteria to select both peer wellness mentor and the peer academic mentors. We actually check their results, and then we actually only take in the ones who are on green and purple. So the moment let's say we had mentors first years who were on green, and then the second semester they get to be on orange for some cases. So that mentor, it means that he can or she can't be part of the program anymore. We're actually only dealing with the ones who are on green and purple.
And is somebody taking care of their needs? Is there any monitoring to determine if their performance is being affected by their mentoring, the time that they're spending with the mentoring? And then again, also for those students that are being mentored, is there any follow-up to say that, you know, there is actual improvements in their academic performance from the onset of mentoring and as they progress through the program?
Okay, I'll start with the progress of the mentors. That one, their contract is, okay, from our college, the mentors contract is actually 4 months. So it's more like we're gonna hire you based on your performance right now, and then after 4 months for the second semester, we have the administrator who goes back to actually check if everyone is still on green or on purple, and then that's when we do the reappointments. And also to check the whatever that's affecting our mentors. On the report, there's a section where they actually put their concerns. So we actually deal with it from that side, and we also encourage them to actually, more especially the peer wellness mentors, we actually encourage them to be familiar with the student support services, because some of the things that the mentees are sharing with them, it might be deep, or it might be something that actually happened to the person back then and they try to deal with it, but now it's coming back from someone else. So we actually encourage them to actually use the services of the student support services so that they can be able to handle both their personal well-beings and the mentees' well-beings. And the other question, sorry, may you please repeat the second question?
While you're talking about that one, they are able to refer their mentee as well for further counseling should the need.
Yes, with the peer wellness, we actually, we actually encourage them to not deal with all the matters. There are some things that they can't really deal with. We understand that, but we actually say identify, identify, analyze, and refer. So they will identify the students who's having maybe suicidal thoughts, or maybe who's, because some mentees, they usually open up on the things that are happening. Some will say that I use substance abuse, maybe like alcohol or drugs in order for me to cope. So all those things, they usually take them and then they tell that some of the situations, they don't need them to wait up until the last day of the month. They can actually contact the FYE coordinator, and then the FYE coordinator will actually take it from there. It's either if it's something that can be resolved, like I said, we resolve it. But if it's something that's deep, like substance abuse, it's not something that's actually happened now. It's something, maybe it's because it's based on something that happened in the past, and then now it has been developing. So that one we actually refer back to the student support services, because they are trained for those kind of situations.
Thanks. And in my other question that you were referring to, in terms of the success of the program, do we see a difference in the academic performance of the mentees from the first test through their performance, say, in year 1 or in year 2?
Okay. In terms of year 2, I wouldn't comment much, because we're only dealing with the first years. So in year 2, that's where they fall under the academic development officers. So those are the ones who can track back on what their progress from first year to the second year. But in their daily, not really daily, but in their test progresses and the semester progresses, that's where we are able to check, because we have the administrators who actually liaise with the lecturers or the administrators from the faculties or the colleges, or not the colleges, the schools, who can actually give the marks, so that we can track who's actually not performing well and who has been missing tests, and then that's where we can follow up on what's happening.
Okay, thank you so much. And I said to you I had a couple, so my last question is on the first year experience program. Okay. The few topics that you mentioned, 101, 102, 103, they're very, very relevant, because I know from personal experience how first year students can be quite lost, so to speak. But these modules then are not just during orientation, they're throughout the year. And I'm just wondering, do you get dropouts through the year? As, students get busy with other things, they make friends, etc. So is the buy-in the same as you found initially during orientation week, when they knew and they attend everything? Is there dropout through the year?
Actually, that's what we are experiencing currently, because students at the beginning of the year, remember, they needed all the information to be able to adjust to the university. But then now, more especially since second semester, they feel like now they are at home, they know everything, they've made friends, they can do everything on their own. So now that's where the stats are dropping when it comes to them engaging in the course, because now they feel like, now I know everything. I passed first semester with 90s, 80s. So now they no longer feel that excitement of being part of the program. But what matters is that at least they were able to adjust and they were doing well. But then I think that's where we should work on how to actually make them to be part of the program throughout the year without them dropping. I think that's something that we should be working on right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, so I just wanted to follow up with a few comments with regard in our college to peer wellness and FYE mentors and who looks after them. And the answer to that is we do. So our mentors are supervised by the student counselors. So each student counselor is assigned to a school. So in health sciences, I'm the coordinator for the School of Health Sciences. So all the mentors within that school each month will attend a supervision session. And the FYE mentors as well, and there we will discuss difficult cases, what people are experiencing, and we will also remind them that they themselves are entitled to exactly the same services as their students, and should they require individual counseling, they need to contact me or the administrator. I don't see the mentors that require counseling. I refer them to other counselors for obviously ethical reasons. But in our college, we've got a very firm process of supervision and debriefing with our mentors, our FYE and PWMs. And they are also trained rigorously in terms of referral. So if there's a problem, they will usually come to me as a supervisor and say, listen, I've got this, where do we refer? We have a big WhatsApp group, and they will also ask each other questions and bounce ideas off each other. So it becomes quite a collaborative learning experience between us and them with each other. Thank you.
Christy, are there no concerns that relate to POPIA in that instance, the sharing information on somebody else?
They don't share confidential details. So when I say difficult cases, they won't say that, oh, I'm seeing Christy Greener, and Christy Greener said. They will say, one of the difficulties that my students are presenting with is loneliness. And then we will say, okay, so what kind of strategies can we employ? Do we need to have a workshop? Do we need to have this or that? So we don't take in direct. If there's a student that says, ma'am, I need to see you for individual supervision, to talk about a specific student that they want to name, they also sign confidentiality agreements at the beginning of the year as part of their contracts. So they're not allowed to discuss personal cases outside of the peer wellness mentoring context, and in supervision they are taught to maintain confidentiality. So there is no relating of personal information unless it's in a private individual supervision session between me and them.
It will be interesting to get someone from this side. It's the same conversation. Oh, and then there's someone.
Christy, there was a slide that you showed that says 51% agreed that mental health is contagious. So is it really contagious?
No, mental illnesses are not contagious, but what can happen is if you are supporting someone with a mental illness and you yourself have been affected in a similar way, you can get what's called vicarious traumatization, so secondary trauma. But that is why for example, the mentors are in supervision, the counselors are in supervision, the counselors and mentors are in their own therapy. So in terms of that, so that is also a part of the support program. So like this one student said, learning how to deal with tragedies in hospitals. So we're building on having those support groups where we work through those kind of traumatic experiences. But in terms of mental health itself being contagious, you can't catch depression or anxiety or PTSD.
And Kirsty, for me, it looks like your study will need to have a qualitative component, because there tends to be, issues of importance that are being tapped on, and then no follow-up, questions to further understand whatever point that has been raised.
Oh, we definitely plan to expand the study and to gauge more and to dig more into the responses that we have been given. So it is a plan. We started somewhere, but we've got plans to go big.
You can take over. And there's another one there, Kiss.
Okay, I have a question for you. Okay, thank you for your presentation. So I wanted to find out, in your FYE program for College of Law and Management, are mentors grouped according to to the module? Like, for example, like management, mentors, finance, or anything like that, so that when a student is having a problem, like maybe it's management or accounting, they go to a specific mentor who is like, well, who have enough knowledge on that specific subject. Are your mentors grouped like that?
Okay, thank you for that. When we group our mentors, we group them, more especially, we have 4 schools. So we have the foundation program. Foundation program is usually for those who have done, first preference is given to those who have done foundation program before, but we know that we have a limited number when it comes to that. So we can actually take from anyone, because with the foundation program, their modules are not really like the major one, the major ones. So foundation program is it's on the side. And then when it comes to accounting, we usually take, for both peer academic and peer wellness, we take the ones who have done accounting or who are doing accounting, more especially if it's second year, from second year to postgrad, we actually allocate them according to that. And the SMEC side, we do the same. For School of Law, we also do the same. So for most of them, they are actually grouped according to that. But where the numbers are limited, for peer wellness, that's where we can just randomly take from any school, because with the peer wellness, they're dealing with the general well-being of the students. But we actually start with those who have done the modules before, because some of the things, maybe if example that I can give is that, let's say for accounting, the well-being, sometimes it might be from the module, but it's linked to something that's happening outside. So we can actually get, that's why we usually prefer that someone who has done the module or who's doing the similar course should be part of it, because like you said, the questions that they're asking, how are they going to be able to address them if they haven't been to the same situation? So that's why we actually give them, we actually allocate them according to the degree or the course that they are doing.
Hi. My question is about the FYE mentors, the wellness mentors. You said that you guys only take students who are on good academic standing. What about those students, maybe they're at risk, but they've moved from one college to another? Obviously, they've added more years to their study, and the system sometimes automatically gives them a rate based on the amount of semesters they've been in. Would they not be eligible for the program? And also, wouldn't the other students at risk who are trying to rehabilitate themselves assist with those that are just entering so they don't make the same mistakes as they did?
Okay, that one we haven't looked at it, that there are people, maybe there might be students coming from the other college coming to our college. So that one, we were actually strictly taking the ones who are on green. But I think it's something that we can look we can actually look into. But we were actually strictly giving first preference to students from the college, and also we're only checking if you're on green or not.
So if a student did bad in their first year, but they did well in the second and third year, but the Roberts system is still at risk, would they not be eligible in terms of, because they've been trying to rehabilitate themselves, and wouldn't they be better at teaching a first year of what not to do?
Okay, I'm not sure, but if I'm not mistaken, the more you improve your marks, I think each and every semester the Roberts system changes. So that's why we are able to trace who hasn't performed well this semester, and if they improve next year, they are eligible to actually apply again.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Hi. Thank you for your presentation, ma'am. As we are coming from the College of Law and Management, are there any interdisciplinary collaborative that we are doing, i.e. with the College of Humanities peer mentors, to avoid some of the issues that the earlier speakers asked in terms of academic performance and so forth. And also taking into consideration that the students from the College of Law and Management might have some other modules that are doing in the IE, also in the College of Humanities. What are the initiatives and the collaborative workshops that you guys are doing or that are in place to enhance the student performance?
Okay, as far as I know, our first year modules, they are usually, okay, or maybe for School of Law, I think that's the only school that they can have modules from outside. I'm not sure about that, but as far as I know, their modules are within our college. Are not, there's no collaboration for first years with the other colleges.
Okay.
You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay,
but
of which is?
according to our thing, everything is within the college for first years.
Okay. Oh, I'm coming from Howard College campus, of which is the School of Law is there.
Okay.
Therefore, you are guys focusing solely on the College of Law and the Management, not including the schools per se and their modules that they offer. Hence, you have already mentioned that within the School of Law, the first year students, there are modules that are coming from the College of Humanities.
Okay, usually when it gets to that, we refer them to the ADOs based on their modules that they are doing. But we haven't really formed a collaboration between the two colleges. We just usually refer them to the ADOs because they are able to deal with the specific modules that they are doing.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, one last question and then we need to break for lunch.
It's basically not a question, but I just wanted to try and add some more information to what the speaker was addressing, because they have a similar program that we actually do in the health sciences. In my understanding, or should I say in the College of Health Sciences, just to add more information on the previous speaker, the lady who was asking about at-risk students who couldn't become, the FYE program is for first years, and it's a peer-led program that is supposed to be mentored by second-year students. The reason why it's second-year students in the same degree is because the experiences of being first year is still fresh in their minds. So once you progress to a third year, then you don't qualify to become a peer wellness mentor. Two, the reason why they don't use students who are at risk to be mentors is because, one, taking additional task is also part of, is like you have to be able to do time management in a way. So it's not necessarily about academic progression, because remember, peer wellness mentors are supposed to assist with the basic needs of the students in terms of adapting into the university program, meaning how to register, you know. They don't tutor, they don't do mentoring, they refer those things to tutoring and all of those things. So the reason why the criteria is actually good academic standing students is because of the time management criteria. If you become at risk, there is an element that you were not able to manage your time because of other challenges that were going around you. So in terms of student support, it's to actually rehabilitate you. Unfortunately for FYE, even if you are rehabilitated and you are in third year, you wouldn't qualify, because the program of peer wellness mentors is only if you are a second year coming to mentor a student who is a first year entry student. I don't know if that will assist. And then other people that didn't know about the program, there have been numerous posters that are college-specific on the notice boards for every year, and it's November. So maybe if the gap is just to make colleagues aware of when these notices are coming up, so they know in their various colleges when they can encourage students who are first years to actually apply for this post.
Thank you very much to everyone. Thank you very much to our presenters. Two of our speakers are cancelled, but then I guess it was to our advantage. We've had fruitful discussions. Thank you so much. We can break for lunch.